So you've been working on your voice, or at least you've been thinking about getting better at singing. And you've tried the YouTube warm-ups, you've tried the tutorials, but for some reason, you're not seeing the results that you want. You're not able to sing the songs that you want. You're not able to hit those notes. And maybe you've even thought about giving up. And I still remember going through those exercises and working on my voice. And I even set a timeline that, if I just did these exercises for 3 months, by the end of 3 months, I'd be different. I'd be changed. And what happened is when I then listened back to my own voice, I still sounded the same. And if that's you, you are not alone. I've been there myself as a singer, as someone learning how to sing. And I've actually helped many singers overcome this through my personal coaching and my step-by-step singing programs. And so what if I could share some of the behind the scenes of why this is happening? And then also one of the most forgotten skills if you want to break past this barrier. And if you spend some time developing this, you will start to see the results that you've always wanted to. And so before I talk about this forgotten skill, which is probably one of the most important skills here, let's talk about why this is happening. Why are people feeling stuck? Why do people feel like they can't get better? And why did most people not see improvements with their voice? And so here is where I would love to introduce the 4 stages of learning for you. You see, learning how to sing is a journey. There is a process, and it actually has been mapped out by a lot of very, very smart people. So let's quickly run through these 4 stages together, and then I will share with you one of the most important yet forgotten skills when it comes to learning how to sing. So the first one really here is unconscious incompetence. Now, what this basically means is you don't know what you don't know. And you can often see this with, that friend who really can't really sing, but they're going crazy at that karaoke session. They're kind of belting it out with like lots of confidence. They're just going for it. Usually this is a sign of unconscious incompetence, which means they don't even know that they sound off or that they sound funny. And then from the stage of unconscious incompetence, we move to the next one, which is conscious incompetence. And I know there's a lot of words here that might feel tricky, but basically here we now realize what we don't know. We realize what we're not doing so well. And there's almost a bit of like an aha moment. And this is when you start to realize, oh, maybe I'm not actually singing on tune. Or maybe I realize, hey, this is where I'm struggling with my singing. And then from here, we then move over to stage 3, which is conscious competence, which means you're now developing this ability of singing. You're developing this ability to sing on pitch. You're now developing this ability to hit certain notes, but it still takes conscious effort. You still have to think about it. You still have to remind yourself how to get there. And finally, which is the stage which we all want to get to, is the stage of unconscious competence, which means you don't really have to think about it so much. It just kind of happens and you feel like things just flow a bit more for you. Now, why am I sharing this? Most of us want to get to stage 4, level 4, where singing feels effortless, it feels good, and most importantly, you sound good when you're singing. But the reality is most of us are stuck at level 1 or 2, which means you either don't even realize that you're singing off pitch or you can't sing that well yet, or you have realized, I can't really sing that well, but I don't know how to get to the next stage. I don't know how to get to conscious competence. Now, this is really important because you can't skip levels here. You can't go from a level 1 to level 4, which means you have to, if you're level 1, find a way to get to level 2. If you're at level 2, find a way to get to level 3. And if you're at level 3, find a way to get to level 4. And this becomes the challenge because there is specific things you need to be doing to go between these stages. And the reason I find a lot of people getting stuck with their voices is often they're trying to go from level 3 to level 4, or they're doing things that allow them to go from 3 to 4 when they're actually at level 1 or 2. Now, what this means is if you're practicing scales and you're doing them again and again, you're doing them mindlessly, what you're doing here is you're retraining habits and you're trying to get to this place where you can do it without thinking. But the challenge here is that's a level 3 to level 4 activity, right? You're trying to make this thing which you can do and make it unconscious. But if you're doing those things wrong, if you're not even sure how to hit those notes or how to get to those notes correctly, you're actually doing the wrong activities. And this is probably why you're not seeing results. Your practice is not making you better. It's just making those habits stick harder. And so what's the solution here? The first step to solving any problem is awareness, because you cannot fix what you can't observe. And so, for example, when it comes to singing, for us to get to level 1 to level 2, the first thing we need to do is become aware of what is going wrong. Are you singing with a lot of tension? Are you singing with, a lot of nasality? we have to figure out what is going wrong. But then to get from level 2 to level 3, where you become consciously competent, you then just need to figure out what is a better way to do things, which means how does it feel like when I'm singing without nasality? How does it feel like when I'm singing without strain? You have to become aware of those things as well. What I found from experience, from my own personal experience and from my clients, the easiest way to develop this awareness, to move from stage 1, 2, 3, is developing the ability to clearly articulate what you're feeling when you're singing. Now, what this means is being able to articulate, the sensations, the things that you're thinking about, the things that you're noticing, and being able to clearly articulate them. Because guess what? What this allows us to do is it moves us from an unconscious behavior to something that is conscious. Remember, stage 1 is unconscious incompetence. We have to make you conscious of all of these things. And this is where you have to get good at being able to articulate the feelings that you're noticing. And so one of the best ways to develop this is to journal, which means as you're practicing, as you're exploring your singing, just write down things that you notice. Maybe you notice a resonance here, or maybe you notice that when you're singing a song and it feels especially hard, is there some kind of tension, or is there some kind of pressure? Is there some kind of sensation that you're noticing that tends to accompany this? If you can write this down, this is going to build that awareness for you. Now, this could be a physical journal, maybe a pen and paper, or it could be a digital journal. Personally, I use Trello and I find it really, really useful for note taking. But the key principle here is write it down. And so I actually want you to test this out for your next practice session, which is write down all the sensations, all the things that you're noticing, and see if you can start developing this ability to articulate what you're noticing. Because over time, you'll notice that you become much more in tune with your singing, which means, certain sensations or certain cues that you might have missed when you first started singing because you weren't even conscious of them, all of a sudden they become really obvious to you, and then they become a cue for you to use for your singing. And then this is going to allow you to go from stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3, and then finally to stage 4. By the way, team, I've actually got some really, really exciting news. If you're looking to improve your voice and you're looking to fast track it, I've actually built a new course called The Fundamentals of Learning How to Sing. And this is where I basically break down step by step how I've built over an octave of range. I'm able to hit some of the notes that I never thought I'd used to be able to hit, sing some of the songs that I've always wanted to, and do it in a way that actually sounds good in them too. And so in this course, I share very, very timeless kind of fundamentals, which means, whether you're a beginner or whether you're someone who has got a bit of experience under their belt, these are concepts you can use again and again and again to improve your voice. Then I also share a routine which allows you to execute on all of this and build your voice in less than 15 minutes per day. So you can sing the songs that you've always wanted to sing. And so if you're open to more details, check out the link in the description. And I'll also pop in a special code. So when you check out, you can get a special price just because you've been checking out the show. So once again, team, hope you found this episode useful, and I'll see you in our next episode. Take care.